Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to all who are watching this IELTS speaking class live. My name is Alex and I will be guiding you today for the IELTS speaking practice. There will be the opportunity for students to join us in terms of practicing their IELTS speaking skills. You will also be able to get feedback on that as well. This is a great opportunity for those who wish to join in and practice. It's also an opportunity for those who are watching to pick up on some key IELTS speaking tips, because I'll be going through those as well throughout today's class. So we'll see who joins us today. I'm looking forward to seeing who is watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you are watching this class live, please let me know. Let me know your name and where you're from. And also throughout the class, there will be some activities and I'll be asking you to participate and to contribute with your answers. So if you do have answers to the questions that I will pose throughout the class, then please let me know in the comment box on either Facebook or YouTube, and I'll be reading out your comments live during the class. So, who have we got in the class today? I can see that that Jessie has joined us, which is great to see. Hello to you, Jessie. We've also got Mickey from Myanmar. Welcome to you, Mickey. And Kiyor as well is here. Hello to you. Nigat from Dubai is watching us live as well. So a very warm welcome to you, Nigat. So anyone else who is watching us live, as I say, just let me know your name and where you're from. Kiyor is watching from Myanmar as well. So that's both Mickey and Kiyor from Myanmar. Wonderful. Okay. So we'll see who else joins us in the class as we proceed and look at some key elements of the IELTS speaking test. I'll be looking forward to seeing exactly how many get involved, get stuck in, and also who will be sharing with us their knowledge of the IELTS tasks, and who will be getting involved directly in the speaking practice for today as well. Looking forward to seeing who's going to be taking that opportunity. Okay, so Mickey, you're working in Singapore at the moment. Right, okay. So a little bit of a journey then from Myanmar to Singapore. Very nice, very interesting to have an experience of both cultures. So just as we're getting started today, allow me the opportunity of letting you know about the way that you can join us in terms of the IELTS scholarship program. You can see the banner going across the bottom of the screen at the moment, and also you can see here some information relating to the scholarship program. This is something you can sign up for today. If you have a dream, which is to work as a nurse in the USA, then here at Swoosh English and Connetics, we can help you to achieve that ambition. If you sign up for the scholarship program, you will find out the ways in which we can help you, and you could do all of this for free. So if you have not yet signed up for this program, then click on the link, which I'm going to share now in the chat box, and just click on the option which says Staff Nurse, and then you will be able to find out more about this opportunity in order to further your ambitions in terms of living and working in the United States. So yeah, great opportunity there for those who wish to take it. Okay, so I can see that we've had a few other students joining us in the class today, which is great to see. A big warm welcome to Joanna, Alice, Griselle, and Jesnine as well. I look forward to doing some practice with you throughout the class. So let's have a look then at the topic for today. As usual, I want to share with you some tips about the IELTS exam and go through some key elements which will help you to improve your performance. So what we're going to be having a look at today is fluency. So fluency is one of the 4 speaking criteria that you'll be graded on in the IELTS speaking test. And the way that you can show that you have a high level of fluency is to do the following. So the first point is that you should speak at a natural pace. So that means that you shouldn't speak too quickly. So for example, if you're speaking like this, you're speaking too quickly, this would not be natural fluency. Okay, what I was doing before, at speaking that quickly, would be an issue with the IELTS exam, because if you speak too quickly, it's harder to understand what you say. Equally, if I speak too slowly, there is an issue with fluency there as well, because obviously if you speak so slowly, it means that you're not able to express as many ideas, and this would be a problem within the exam. The first problem would be that you wouldn't have enough time to really develop your ideas, and the second problem would be that it would show that you clearly weren't comfortable when it came to speaking English. So another thing is to avoid extended pauses or hesitation. So this is similar to not speaking too slowly. Usually if you speak too slowly, it's because you are hesitating or pausing too much. Reduce the number of pauses as well. So there's a difference between extended pausing, so as you're pausing for too long, and also the number of pauses. So it may be the case that your pauses are not too long, but they're too frequent. And if your pausing is too frequent, then that would also be a sign of a lower level of fluency. You want to avoid repeating words and phrases. If you keep repeating the same words and phrases, then this would indicate again that there was an issue with both your vocabulary, the how much vocabulary you actually know, and also it would show that you're just relying on the same words and phrases because you're not comfortable in terms of developing your ideas. So avoid repetition, use paraphrasing instead, so using different words to express similar ideas, and make sure that you do develop your points and don't just keep repeating the same words and phrases. Another way to show high level of fluency is to use cohesive features. So linking words. The linking words don't have to be extremely complex. Words such as whereas, but, so, yet, therefore, these sorts of words which link your ideas together and show the relationships between the ideas that you're expressing. And then finally, make sure that you give full developed responses to questions. So don't just obviously give one-word answers or just a short phrase in terms of answering questions. You have to develop your points, particularly in, obviously for part 2, you need to be speaking for up to 2 minutes. And part 3, you need to show that you're able to provide a developed reasoning in terms of your answers to the questions. So giving reasons as to why you believe what you believe, not just making a statement on whatever it is that you agree or disagree with. So let's have a look at particularly now part 2. How can we show fluency in speaking part 2? So as we know, and as I previously stated, for part 2, you should aim to speak for up to 2 minutes on a specific topic. So the first way that you can ensure that you demonstrate a high level of fluency here is to make sure that you have some notes written down on the points that you wish to talk about. So having the notes written down will give you enough content, but it will also mean that you can transition between topics without having to pause or hesitate for extended periods of time. And obviously, as previously discussed, that is extremely important, to speak at a natural pace. You should also ensure that you have a clear structure to your talk. So the way we can do this is to have a beginning phrase, so to use a phrase which shows we're beginning our talk, to use transition phrases as we move through the different parts of our talk, and then have a phrase to end the talk as well. And we're going to have a look at that in a little bit more detail in just a moment. And then the final point is you should ensure that you speak at a natural pace throughout. So again, not too quickly, not too slowly. Maintain a natural level pace throughout your speaking. So I can see that Santosh has joined us in the class. Hello to you, Santosh. I hope you're having or have had a great day so far. So let's have a look at some examples then of achieving these points in speaking part 2. So here is a speaking part 2 question. We can see that at the bottom of the screen. Describe the time when you first talked in a foreign language. So looking at this question, I'd like you to share with me in the chat box some phrases that you could use to begin your talk on this topic, to move on to a new idea in your talk, and also to signal the end of your talk. So what expressions or phrases could you use on this topic in order to do those 3 points? If you've got any ideas, let me know in the chat box, and I will read out your comments live in the class. So what do we think? Starting first off then with beginning the talk. We should start with that one. What could we say? What sort of phrase could we use to start our talk? To signal to the examiner, I'm ready to begin. This is a structured talk, showing fluency, we're showing organization in our speaking. How could we do that on this topic? Okay, so I'm going to share some examples that that I would come up with. If you have examples as well, as I said, I'll read those out. So if you share those whilst I'm sharing my examples, then I'll be reading out your examples afterwards. Just take a sip of water. Slightly dry throat. Okay, so beginning the talk. These are some ways in which we could do it. So we've got here, so the very first time I spoke in a foreign language was, so I initially spoke in a foreign language when, so using so just to begin the talk. It's a way of signaling that you are going to start on a particular topic. It's a way of signaling that you're ready to begin. And it's appropriate in terms of speaking. It doesn't sound too formal. It sounds very natural. So that's a nice way in which we can start our talk. When it comes to moving on to a new idea, a way we can do that is to use the expression as to. So as to, in this case, who I spoke to, yeah, we can use that in any context. We can just use that to switch from one topic to the next. In this case, I'm using it to switch to the second topic, which was who I spoke to, and so we can use that phrase. What I actually said was, so here we can use what at the beginning of the expression to emphasize the point. What we're doing is we're emphasizing the topic that we're talking about now, or the part of the topic we're talking about, and we use what in order to do that. So we could just say, I said blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fine. But by using what I actually said was, it just gives a bit more emphasis. And again, it shows this is a key part of the talk. So I'm transitioning from one part of the talk to the next part of the talk. And similarly, with the next example, what I feel about the interaction is, again, just emphasizing, highlighting that we're moving on to a new part of the talk here. Signaling the end of the talk. So we've got here, so I think overall it was a positive experience. So this is extra information that we're adding to the talk. It's not something which we've been asked about directly, but it's just a way that we can end our talk and signal to the examiner that we are finishing. Obviously, we shouldn't do this until we reach about 2 minutes. But if we feel like, you know what, I've been talking now for a couple of minutes, I think this is the end, then it's a good way to signal that to the examiner, and it provides a good structure to what you're saying. Another way you could end it is to say, as it was the first time I'd done it, it was naturally a memorable experience. So using as in this case, providing a reason, and it's a good way again to end your talk. So let's have a look at some of your examples then. So Jesse says, to begin our talk, today I'm going to speak about a time when I spoke a foreign language. Okay, yeah, that's absolutely fine. It's a way of beginning your talk. And we could do it that way as well. Jesse also said for the first time. So yeah, a foreign language for the first time. Yeah. linking it to what she said before. So today I'm going to speak about a time when I spoke a foreign language for the first time. Another point in terms of showing fluency is the fact that we're able to paraphrase. So it's good for vocabulary, but it's good for fluency as well, because it allows us to take ideas and put them in our own words. So can you see examples of paraphrasing from the original question card? If we go back to the original question card, we can see here, these were the points. So you should say, describe the time when you first talked in a foreign language. You should say what language it was, with whom you spoke, what you said, and how you felt about the conversation. So how have I paraphrased some of these words in my phrases to provide structure? Let me know if you can see any examples. Okay. So just as you are looking at some examples there from the questions, I will share with you some key ways in which I have paraphrased the questions. So here we are. So we can see the beginning of the talk. So the very first time I spoke in a foreign language was the very first time I spoke in a foreign language. So if we go back to the original questions, we can see it says, describe the time when you first talked in a foreign language. And so I've paraphrased that by saying spoke instead of talked, and instead of the first time, just put the very first time. So there's a bit of paraphrasing going on there. As to who I spoke to, so who I spoke to is a paraphrase of whom you spoke. I've changed the grammar of it in that sense, using who instead of whom. And what I actually said was, again, is another way of paraphrasing a part of the question, because it said what you said. So what I actually said was, okay, just adding extra information to that. And then the final one was explain how you felt about the conversation. And you can see I paraphrased that with my feelings about the experience are, or what I feel about the interaction is, so interaction instead of conversation, or experience instead of conversation, my feelings instead of what I felt. So you can see this paraphrasing there in terms of both vocabulary and grammar. And if you're able to do that yourself in part 2 of the IELTS speaking exam, then you will score more highly as a result. Okay, so those are some points then with IELTS speaking part 2, and that's what we're going to focus on with the practice today with our students who have joined us live in the class. So let's see who is with us at the moment, and let's do some practice. I'm going to bring Jessie in to start. So let's see how Jessie is doing today. Let's bring her in just now. Hi there, Jessie.
Yes, Alex, I'm here with you.
How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you, Alex?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. So how's your week been so far?
It was a busy week. My mother, she was tested for COVID positive, and I had a very bad time, and I was with her all
Gosh,
the time, caring for her. Yeah, but it's okay. Now she's
is she?
better.
She's better now. Okay,
Yes, yes.
that's the important thing. I'm very glad to hear it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So Jessie, we're going to do part 2 practice together. So let me bring up the part 2 topic that we're going to be looking at.
Okay, Alex.
And just before we do, a quick description of IELTS speaking part 2 for those who are less familiar. So this part of the test will last for between 3 to 4 minutes in total. There will be a presentation of a question. The candidate will then have a minute to prepare his or her response. The candidate should speak for up to 2 minutes and should always aim to speak for the full 2 minutes in this part of the exam. The examiner might interrupt you before 2 minutes, but you should always make it your aim to speak for 2 minutes. So we can see the topic for the first IELTS speaking part 2 practice is a gift. So can you see this on your screen, Jessie?
Yes, Alex, I can see it.
Wonderful. Okay, so you've got a minute to prepare your response. Okay, Jessie, are you ready to begin?
Yeah, I will give my best try.
Brilliant. Okay, so please describe a present you have given someone.
So today I would like to talk about a present I gave to one of my friends. Uh, Her name is Jolly. She's a very close friend of mine, and I thought of giving this gift to her because I saw that the mobile she's using was a old version mobile. So she always used to complain that I cannot afford to buy a better mobile because it is costly for me and my parents are not working. And I saw the situation or the condition of her house family. It is She was actually struggling to look after her family, and I decided that I'm going to surprise her by giving her a present. And what I did was I purchased this costly mobile. I cannot say that I'm trying to show off or something that I purchased this costly mobile, but because she's a very close friend of mine and really she wanted a smartphone, I thought of purchasing this mobile and gifting to her. And when it was her birthday day, I surprised her by gifting this mobile to her. And when she opened this gift, she was shocked and amazed. She said that I never expected that you will give this gift to me. So I said that the value of the gift must be costly, but then for me, the relationship, you know, for me, the friendship is more, it matters a lot for me. Then she was totally emotioned and she was feeling so, you know, happy, joyed, nostalgic feeling she was having. And I was so happy to give her this. And I always think that, when you have friends, you should always consider the friendship point of view. And I really
Okay,
feel.
thank you, Jessie. That's great. Um, yeah, so we got to 2 minutes there, so I just stopped you at that point. But yeah, a very nice story, first of all, in terms of looking after your friend. I'm sure she's very
Yes,
lucky to have you as a
yes,
friend.
yes. Yeah, she's a very close friend of mine, and her parents, my father had cancer, mother was a housewife, and she always used to tell me, "You all are so lucky having all good gadgets and everything." So when I heard that, I said, "When I can afford it, why not give her one?" So I
Yeah.
presented her one mobile. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Great stuff there, Jesse. Some really nice use of language. So you use some different forms to refer to the past. Always used to, complain. So used to, talking about a habit in the past. So it's good to use that variety. Good grammatical accuracy at times. You said she was struggling to look after her family, struggling to, plus infinitive form, struggling to look after was a nice expression as well. Purchased the phone as an alternative to bought or to buy. So nice vocabulary item. Maybe could have varied it. Maybe sometimes, yeah. So I purchased it and I bought it. But yeah, it was good that you were using that. Costly. Again, you mentioned costly a couple of times, so it's a good word to use. But just to use a bit more variety, you could have switched between costly and expensive, because
Ah,
obviously
yes.
both, yeah, both of them are there. So I'm just making the point really in terms of just variety. So if you notice that you said a word already, it's always a good idea to switch to another word, just to provide as much variety as possible to your speaking. Um, there was one point where you said you know your friend was so surprised that you bought her that object, and you said for you that friendship is more, and then you hesitated. It's like you were looking for a specific word, and I thought a word that would have been perfect to use in that situation was valuable.
Valuable.
So
Yes, I was not
yeah,
getting that word.
that's what you were thinking of, was it? You're looking for the
Yes,
word.
yes, I was not getting that word. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, that would have been a great word to use there. So more valuable, because you know you can value something in terms of money, but also you can value something in terms of the emotion, the connection that you have with the people around you. And just a final one as well. You said that you know your friend was so happy. Then you said she was joyed, but to express the emotion, overjoyed is
Oh,
the
yes.
yeah, is the term
Yes.
that we'd use. Yeah. So that would have been a nice word to use as well if you feel overjoyed because of a particular experience. Um, but yeah, aside from that, Jesse, I thought you did very well. It was a nice structure to your talk, and you showed a good level of fluency throughout as well.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you, Jesse. Okay, so great. Great start to the class there. Thank you again, Jesse, for getting us going. We will do some more practice now, and I'm going to bring what looks like. Oh no, it's not a new student. It's Summer, isn't it? Are you there, Summer?
Hello, Alex.
Hi.
Yes.
You almost
Hello.
you almost
Yes.
tricked me again.
No, no, I didn't change. It's the same.
It's the same as last time. Yeah,
Yes,
some
yes.
Summer. I get you. I get you. How are you, Summer?
I'm good. Just join again.
Good, good. Well, it's always a pleasure to see you in the class. So we're going to look at a different part two topic now. So let's do that. We're going to look at the topic of childhood. So can you see the card on your screen, the virtual card? Yeah, can you see that, Summer?
Yes, describe a happy childhood event.
Brilliant. Okay, so you've got a minute to prepare your answer, and then you should speak about the topic for up to 2 minutes. Okay, Summer, are you ready to begin?
I have nothing. I didn't write anything. Okay,
No.
try.
Okay, give it a go.
Okay.
So, Summer, could you describe a happy childhood event?
Okay. Um, During my childhood, I could say that I have a great time. Uh, even though even though that I'm alone at home because my sibling is not with me. It's not together with me. But because of my classmates and my bosom friends, I was able to enjoy my childhood especially the event that they they helped me to do the cycling. I mean, they taught me how to cycle. And that day, every now and then, even though we don't have um class, or after class we had this moment to do cycling. And then my friends always help me to hold the bicycle in order for me to learn. And that moment I could tell myself that I'm so blessed with such a bosom friend that until now I still have. And also that time I could say that they really make my life or unforgettable moment when I learned the cycling time. I had the best time, and until now I'm able to do the cycling. And I'm hoping that in the future I could um, teach my children to give or share their blessings to their friends around, as well as they can also have the camaraderie. I mean, camaraderie. At least they can feel that one, and throughout their life, they can remember and they will not forget at all.
Okay. Thank you very much there, Summer. Um, Good. So you had quite a few ideas. You said you didn't write anything down.
I have nothing. I mean, I don't know what to write. I don't know what story I should tell. I only think
Uh,
that the cycling time, I had a great time, so that's why I just keep talking about cycling.
Absolutely. Always write down the first idea you think of, because to be honest, it doesn't really matter what idea it is as long as you talk about it. So yeah, it can be cycling, it can be a birthday, it can be a trip to the park, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Yeah, it's just something that you can talk about. That's the most important thing. So good stuff. Yeah, so there was some good organization in there. So some phrases you use, such as, even though, in order to provide contrast, every now and then, in order to, sort of adverb of frequency, showing how often you did the particular activity. And also you had a sort of ending as well, which was quite clear to the talk, that you try and sort of, for the future, you try and pass it on to your children. So that was a nice way to sort of add information and sort of bring an ending to the talk. Just a few things to think about though, Summer. So there was quite a bit of hesitation at times. I think, because maybe you're just sort of, you didn't make any notes, and that's the issue when you don't make notes, is that you do hesitate more, because you're thinking, right, what shall I talk about next? What shall I go on to now? But if you've got your notes already there and you've got some things that you're going to talk about, it makes the process much easier in terms of maintaining fluency. There were some nice expressions. So you said my bosom friends, but you did repeat that. So just as I was saying
Yeah.
before, we could use some more variety. So we could talk about, such close friends, or such
Yeah.
special friends. Some other adjectives that we could use there, just for a little bit of variety. Camaraderie was a nice word. Obviously, you struggled a bit with the pronunciation at first, but
Yes, correct.
but,
But I
but
tried still.
but you got it. Yeah, and it was correct when you said it. Feel at one, another quite nice expression that you used as well. Just slight bits on grammar though. So you said, even though that I'm alone. So you wouldn't say even though that. You would say even though I, and it should be the past, because you're referring to obviously a childhood event. So even though I was alone is what you want to say. So know that, and make sure you do use the past tense consistently, because there were a few times where you were using the present tense instead of the
Yeah.
past tense.
Actually,
So
yes. I recognize, I noticed that the do I'm always saying do, but I don't want to change anymore.
so yeah, it is something to be aware of, because tenses is obviously a fundamental part of grammatical accuracy. So yeah, just be aware of that. And then just a final point is, you share blessings was nice, but you asked your kids to share their blessings. You said to their friends, but it should be with, to share with.
Okay.
Yeah, so just the preposition there. But yeah, other than that, Summer, so some really good stuff. What I would recommend is just recording yourself, particularly for those tense errors, because then when you listen back to yourself and you notice that you're using the present tense when you should be using the past tense, you can then focus more on that and say, right, okay, I need to change that. I need to make sure I'm using the past tense more often.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you very much there then, Summer.
Thank you, Alex.
have a have a great
Oh,
rest of the day.
so fast that you called me right away when I just came actually.
Oh,
Okay,
there
it's
you
okay.
go.
Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
Okay then. So we're going to move on to do some more practice. Just before we do, allow me to share with you once again the opportunity in terms of the IELTS scholarship program. So as you can see, the banner is running across the bottom of the screen here, and also you can see the information here on the screen. So if you do want to work as a nurse in the USA, Swoosh and Connetics can help you to achieve that. We will provide you with the support that you need, and you can get that support by joining our scholarship program. You can sign up for that today. All of this as well could be free of charge. All you have to do is click on the link in the chat box, which I'm going to share now, and click on the option Staff Nurse if you want to find out more information about this and you want to move ahead with your IELTS ambitions. Okay, so let's do some more practice, and I'm going to bring into the class now Gracelle, if I can. Are you there, Gracelle?
Hi, Alex. Yes,
Hi, welcome to the class today.
thank you.
So have you participated in this class before, Gracelle?
Actually, it was my first time to be in this class.
That's it, I thought so. So an extra warm welcome to you in your first class today. Are you
Thank you.
familiar with the IELTS exam?
I have a little bit of knowledge about the speaking exam, but not that thorough.
Okay, so this is a great opportunity then to do some practice to get more familiar with it. We're going to do a part 2 question together. So for this part of the exam, you will have a minute to prepare your response, and then you should talk about the topic that I will present you with for up to 2 minutes.
Okay, I will try my very best.
Perfect. Okay, so the topic that I have for you now then, Gracelle, is the environment. So you have a minute to prepare your responses, and then you should talk about that topic for the 2 minutes. Okay. 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 So are you ready to begin, Gracelle?
Okay, I will try my best.
Brilliant. Okay, so please describe an environmental problem that has occurred in your country.
Okay, so today I would like to talk about the environmental problem that has occurred in my country, in the Philippines. So one of the biggest problem that my country is facing now is the pollution. Most especially, there are a lot of garbages in the ocean, in the seas, and the mainly the reason was there is not a proper garbage disposal, and there are a lot of industrial companies in the Philippines that just throwing the waste products of uh, of their company in the seas, and spillage, oil spillage as well. And I think the steps to solve this is to have a law that requires these companies, these industrial companies, to have a proper waste disposal. And this is a big problem for me because it is not just affecting the population, the Filipino people, but also it's affecting the marine life, most especially the fishes and the corals, and it's contributing as well to the global to the global warming, not just in my own country. And I think this is not just the problem in my country, but it's the problem in overall the world. And this is an important problem to solve, not just in the Philippines, but I think all over. And as a good people of the world, I think every one of us should contribute to lessen this problem that we are
Okay.
facing in our generation.
Thank you very much there, Gracel. Very nice responses to the question. I'm particularly impressed with the range of vocabulary that you were able to share on it. So lots of relevant vocabulary, obviously from global warming to garbage disposal to waste products, oil spillage. So all of this vocabulary was obviously key to talking about the topic, and you demonstrate that you had the necessary vocabulary to do that. So that was very successful. You organized your speaking well. You started off with, one of the biggest problems, which was, clearly saying there's more than one problem, but you showed that you're going to focus on one of many problems. You used expressions such as not just, but also. So that was good as well. Using that to organize your talk, and also you're doing it with correct grammar. The only thing that I would say, really, in terms of maybe some steps to go to improve even more, just be careful. Right at the beginning, you did kind of repeat the phrase from the card. It's a good opportunity right from the beginning to paraphrase. So instead of saying, I'm going to talk about an environmental problem that has occurred in my country, you can paraphrase a bit. So you could say, so I'm going to focus on a serious environmental issue that is happening at the moment in the Philippines. So just to paraphrase, so instead of problem, issue, occurred, happening, it's just little things like that you can do just to show to the examiner that you have that variety of vocabulary, that you don't have to rely on the card in order to express your ideas. And also just be careful with plural forms. So there were some plural forms that you were using. So garbages, that's uncountable. It's always garbage. And also you said they throw it in the seas, but in that context, sea would be uncountable as well. So they throw it in the sea. And fishes. So sometimes fishes is used as a plural, but more often than not, it's used as an uncountable. So all the fish in the sea is the expression, as opposed to all the fishes in the sea. So that's not wrong, but it's just more common to use fish uncountably than it is countably. But yeah, aside from that, Gracel, some really nice responses there to those different points on the question card. So well done.
Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome. I hope you join us again in the future.
Yes, definitely.
Good. Okay, so let's continue. I'm going to bring Jesnine into the class now. So let me do that. Hi there, Jesnine.
Hi, Alex. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, and I'm hiding in my brother's room since I don't have a room in our apartment, but it's a decent room.
Okay. Are you comfortable? That's the most important thing.
Yes, definitely.
You're comfortable. Good. I'm glad to hear it. Okay, Justine. So we're going to move on to another topic now. the topic of television. So can you see that on your screen?
Yes, yes, I can see it clearly.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, Jasmine. So you have a minute then to prepare your response to this question, and then you should talk about the topic for 2 minutes. Okay. So, Jasmine, are you ready to begin?
I'll give it a shot.
Perfect. Okay, so please describe a TV show that you enjoy.
One of my favorite TV show that I am still watching up to now is the 24 Horas. It is a well-known um, news that shows the everyday news that is currently happening in our country, and it usually airs every day from Monday to Friday, and of course, there's also a weekend show in that matter. But they often show it in a very short time or a short span of time during the weekends. So it talks about the politics, what is currently happening in the country, the health, and the rises of the crime rates in our country. And I think it is quite popular since um, Philippines is composed of adolescents, um, individuals, so we tend to watch this show to to add information and to have a insight of what is happening. And I think I like it the most because since I'm not fond of watching um, television series, and because it adds more information, and it helps me to be on trend, I guess. I think that's all, Alex.
Is that the only type of TV show that you enjoy watching?
Yes, yes. For now, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much there then, Jasmine. So just at the end there, obviously we ran out of some ideas. So in the exam, if the examiner is not stopping you, then
Mhm.
try to keep speaking. But obviously, if you run out of ideas, then you run out of ideas. You almost made it to 2 minutes. You were close.
Okay.
You almost made it.
I
Okay.
find the cue card very difficult for me um to compose a speech. Yes.
Right. Well, the idea is obviously the topic is television.
Yeah.
So, 2 minutes basically talking about your favorite show. You can
Mhm.
add ideas to what are written on the roll card, um, in order to keep on speaking. You don't have to stick just with the points on the roll card. So that's something
Okay.
that you can do during that 1 minute preparation time. You think to yourself, you know what, I'm going to talk about some other ideas as well. So maybe you could compare the sort of programs you used to watch when you were a child compared to now, or maybe you could talk
Okay.
about programs that are popular in your country. So for you, you like watching the news programs, but maybe other people like watching crime, I don't know, crime dramas, romantic dramas. So yeah, anything that you want to kind of add to the topic is absolutely fine. The key is just that you keep speaking for the time required. But yeah, there was some good stuff in there, Jesnine. So you referred to the fact that you liked watching. It was crime. It was a crime show that you were watching, I believe. I had it written down here. Yeah, sorry, you were talking about the rise in the crime rate. That was it. So what you're watching was obviously it was a news program. You use the expression one of my favorite TV show. So one of my favorite is fine, but if you use one of, then the noun should be in the plural form, because it
Yes.
means that there's more than one. Yeah, this is one of, but there are more than one. So yeah, but so it's a nice expression to use, but just make sure that you use the plural form for the noun where appropriate. Also, you used a nice expression. You said, I'm not fond of watching TV or television series, was something that you used as well. So not fond of was a nice expression, and then followed by the ing form. So that was good. That was a nice, accurate bit of language there too. Just a few things. You said the TV show you like to watch is 24 Horas, which is
The
yes.
title, yes, the title.
It's the title. So
Yes, of
you
the
can easily
TV
translate
program.
that into English, right?
Yes, I forgot. I always forgot to explain that part when
This is
it
it.
comes. Yes.
This is it. Yeah. So all I would do in that case, I'd just translate it. I would just say 24 hours. You know what I mean? Because then
Mm.
it's just easier that way, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
You don't even have to explain it. Yeah. So just bear that in mind. And also some expressions. So you said that you like to be on trend, which I don't think that's the correct expression for what you were trying to express there. So you like to be up to date, I think
Up
is
to
the,
date. Yes.
yeah, I think that's the one. I don't know
Yes.
whether maybe there's an American expression,
Mm.
which is to be on trend.
Oh,
So
okay.
just having a look. So to be on trend in America, conforming to the latest fashion. So I think, yeah,
Okay.
I think it's up to date is
Up
more
to
to do
date.
with news
Okay.
programs. Yeah. And there was another expression that you used as well. So you were saying that so you watch it to add information, but add information, add's not really the right verb. So to get information
To
would
get
be a better
information.
verb. Yeah. So just watch it
Okay.
to get information, or just to be informed is another expression
Okay.
that you could use there as well. So that was the main thing. Just looking at some of those expressions there, Jessalyn. But yeah. Otherwise, you did a good job.
Thank you, Alex. I'll try my
Okay.
best next time.
Yeah, that's it. We keep going, don't we? Keep practicing. That's the key. Practice makes perfect.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you, Jessie.
you.
Okay, so for the final part of the class today, then I'm going to switch the focus to speaking part 3. Obviously, we've done a lot of speaking part 2. So let's have a quick look at speaking part 3 just to end. So usually this section will last for between 4 to 5 minutes. It will be linked to the topic which you have discussed in part 2. The questions will be a question and an answer format again, just as in part 1. But they will be more abstract. So it's important that you're able to give opinions for this section of the test, and that you're able to justify those opinions as well. And you should ensure that your answers are clear and structured. So using appropriate linkers is important for this section of the test too. So we're just going to do a little bit of practice with this then. Let's see, who have we got in the class who we've not practiced with yet. So we've got Alice in the class today. Let me bring you in, Alice. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good. You've had a good week so far?
Yes, I can't complain. Like I mentioned last week, the lockdown was lifted. So at least we feel a bit much better.
Good.
We feel much better, sorry.
It's a step, isn't it? It's a step in the right direction.
Sure.
Good. Okay. So let's have a look at some part 3 questions together. We're going to look at the topic of childhood. Okay. So the first question I have for you, Alice, do you think parents should drive their children to school, or that they should go by themselves?
Well, I think that depending with the age of the child, it would be important for the children to be taken or dropped at school, having realized that currently there are so many cases of child kidnapping. So for the safety of the children, I think it would be important for the parents to accompany them to school.
Okay. And at what age do you think a child should have a mobile phone?
Due to the fact that most of them get addicted to these gadgets, I think that by the age of around 16, the children would be able to monitor themselves, or rather to control themselves, and they would be able to understand what applications they are not supposed to use and the effect that they can have in their lives, unlike when they are still very young, when they have no control over what they can watch on their gadgets. So I think from around the age of 16, but it would also depend with the country and what the legal fraternity or the rule of law dictates.
What do you think are the advantages of a child having a mobile phone at a young age?
As long as the child can take care of the fact that they are not getting addicted, it would be of good use because most of them are able to get a lot of information from the Google, which they can use in their learning. And by doing so, this helps them to improve in most of the subjects that they learn at school.
How can children become more independent?
I think the parents should be able from an early age to engage the children to do activities as per a particular age. And by doing so, by the time these children are growing up, they will be able to learn how to be independent and take care of themselves by, for example, cleaning the table after eating, taking the utensils to the kitchen, and also assisting in washing the utensils. And even if the utensils do not get well cleaned, the parents can redo them. And this will help the children to be able to learn the skills of being independent when they become adults.
And a final question, do you think children are more or less independent now than in the past?
Well, I think if I compare how I was brought up, because I think I was brought up in a situation whereby most of us were expected to do a lot of activities at home, including going to the farms. This, in the current situation, most children are not able to do the tasks that we were able to do. And for that reason, I believe that it is quite different the way children were brought during my time or during our time and what is happening right now.
Okay, thank you very much there, Alice. Some
Welcome.
considered responses, as always, to the questions. So first is the use of linkers again, very structured responses, giving reasons for something. So for the safety of the children, I think is was one thing that you said, providing a reason for something. As long as was a nice way of linking your ideas as well for that reason as well. So that was good. So lots of examples of you linking your ideas together. Some examples as well where you were kind of self-correcting a little bit or changing the direction of what you were saying during your talk. So at one point you said, or rather to, there was just a different word. I think you're saying controlling or rather to monitor. But it was quite a nice expression to use, so, or rather to, so you kind of switch from one word you're going to use to another word. It's something that we do in natural speech a lot. We start with one idea and then we decide, actually, no, I think it would sound better using a different idea. So it was good to hear you doing that as well. Some good paraphrasing, so you avoiding repetition. So instead of using the word independence, you use sort of take care of themselves, to paraphrase at one stage, which was great. Instead of driving their children to school, you used the expression, you said dropped at school. Dropped, I've heard. Also, drop off is another expression that can be used. Dropped off at school, but
Drop
again,
off?
Yeah, to drop someone
Okay.
off. Yeah.
Okay.
There's an alternative in there, but yeah, it was just both were an alternative paraphrases to drive. Oh, just one thing actually. You said depending with a couple of times. So with
Okay.
depend, it should be on, right? Depending
Depending
on.
on. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. That was the only grammatical slip that I noticed. Um, so yeah,
Sorry, I had said depending with.
with yeah,
Okay, thank you.
no worries. But yeah, as I say, that was the only grammatical slip that I noticed. So aside from that, a very nice response to the question. So well done, Alice.
Thank you, Alex.
No worries. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the class for today. Just before I finish, allow me once more just to make you aware of the opportunity that exists in terms of joining our IELTS scholarship program. So if you do wish to work as a nurse in the USA, then here at Swoosh English and Connetics, we can help you to achieve that. Just click on the link in the chat box and click on staff nurse once you have accessed that link, and you'll be able to find all the information that you require about this great opportunity. So thanks to all of those who have participated in the class today, those who have watched live, those who have got involved in live practice. Because of your participation, it makes these classes worthwhile. So I look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, take care.